Ken, I'll let you know once everyone is in.
Thank you.
In progress.
What do I do here?
You're not on mute.
Who's passing the copy?
It's muted again.
Did I hear Dean Cook?
You might have.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
Go ahead.
Good.
See everybody. Is that Betty's ear I see there?
All right, Ken, that's everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. It is a few minutes after 10. Welcome, everybody, to meeting number 517 of the Lake George Park Commission. It's now Tuesday, June 28th, 2022, which is a fact that's hard to believe for some of us. Jump right out. I believe we have a quorum today.
Yes.
Michelle, if you're there, you can say yes. Okay, I see you now. We have a quorum. Thank you. We'll waive the roll call. We have one introduction to make. Kathy Munsell is her first meeting as a commissioner, appointed by Governor Hochul and approved by the New York State Senate very recently. She's taking the seat that Jim Nishaw has held for about 1,000 years. And we welcome you to the Park Commission in your first official meeting, Kathy. Thank you. Thanks for agreeing to serve.
Thank you.
Jumping in, approval of the meeting minutes for the May 22 meeting. I hope we've all had a chance to read them. Any comments or motions?
Motion.
Move it.
Motion is made.
Second.
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Chairman Parker, should I abstain? I apologize. I'm not sure of, I abstain because I'm new, so I abstain. Thank you.
Good question. Let's do that and they'll still carry effectively. Good point. You have to, John McDonald promised to observe my meeting skills this morning when last month, if you remember, I tried to take a vote on a resolution that we hadn't presented yet, but it worked out in the end. Approval of fiscal actions report. Anybody have any comments on that, or is there a motion? Motion's made.
Oh,
Motion
no,
seconded.
Ken,
Oh,
I have
okay, Jen.
I have a question. On the physical actions report, I was just wondering what the paid amount to Shed Stop for about $14,000 was. What, I have no idea what that could be.
I can answer that one, Ken, if you'd like.
Thank you.
Sherwood?
So as you folks know, we have we've taken over operations at the South Bay boat launch in Whitehall for the Adirondack Watershed Institute. We're taking, we're inspecting boats that are headed to Lake George, but we're also servicing boats that are going to, and more importantly, leaving Lake Champlain that might be headed to Lake George. And we ordered an office structure from Shed Stop that matches the style and size of the other inspection station offices that we have at our other sites. So that's what that is.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay. Discussion, motion's been made, motion's been seconded. All in favor of the
Aye.
fiscal actions report? Motion is carried.
Abstain.
One abstention. Okay, now item 3 on our agenda. An important item, but saddest item of the day. Commissioner Nishaw is stepping away from the Park Commission after many years. And in this order, I can't see her or Jim, but Betty has possession of a picture that we'd like to present to Commissioner Nishaw, and thanks for his 20 plus years of service. And John McDonald is going to read a resolution to that effect. So can somebody guide me through, because my screen's not big enough? Is Betty and Jim doing something?
Yep, Betty's got the photo for
Oh,
Jim.
there it is.
Okay,
There it is. There it is. That's a pretty picture.
Yeah, maybe Betty or Jim can read the plaque at the bottom.
Pardon?
Betty, perhaps you could read the plaque at the bottom for Jim?
Presented to Jim Nishaw with our sincere appreciation for your 17 years of dedicated service in protecting Lake George. 2005 to 2022, Lake George Park Commission. And he says it's third peak.
That
That's
is,
fantastic.
that is, the pinnacle looking east. That's from Brian Blackburn. It's a Carl Hallman photo. Brian does excellent work. And we thought Bolton was appropriate, given Mr. Nisha's longstanding ties to the Bolton community.
Commissioner McDonald, can you read a resolution for us, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to do that. Lake George Park Commission Resolution number 2022-33. Whereas the Lake George Park Commission is a New York State agency charged with the long-term protection of Lake George and its many users. And whereas James T. Nishaw was first nominated by Governor George Pataki and confirmed by the New York State Senate to join the commission board in 2005. And whereas during Jim's 17 years of voluntary service, he contributed with the distinction as a member of the Executive Committee, Project Review Committee, and countless other roles. And whereas as a graduate of Bolton Central High School, Jim's unwavering service to the commission reflects a lifetime of thoughtful commitment to Lake George and the region and beyond, including as a school principal and superintendent, planning board member, member of the Bolton Rescue Squad, as well as his service as a U.S. Navy pilot from 1957 to 1962, and a commissioned Marine Patrol officer from 1964 to 1968. And whereas in his contributions to the commission, Jim has attended hundreds of meetings and site visits throughout the basin and reviewed thousands of documents, devoting countless hours in his voluntary service to the public for the preservation and protection of Lake George. And whereas Jim's experience, wit, and affable nature have routinely guided commission dialogue and action and positively shaped the organization and its decision-making. And whereas Jim's contribution, including his support for Marine Patrol, the boat inspection regulations, parasail safety measures, and stormwater and stream quarter regulations serve as a lasting legacy of protection for the communities he has long served. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the commission pause today to give special recognition to James T. Nishaw, retiring member and friend, upon a celebration of his completion of 17 years of voluntary service as a commissioner of the Lake George Park. And be it further resolved that we convey on behalf of ourselves and all of those who love Lake George our great appreciation for your service. May you go forward from today with the satisfaction that your contributions to public service stand as a watermark for us all. And I make that motion on behalf of my mentor and great friend.
Second. Motion's made and second. All in favor of this motion, this resolution, signify by.
Aye,
Aye.
aye. Congratulations, guys. Yep.
Mr.
Thank you,
Nisha,
Jim.
thank you very much. You have any comments you want to add to that, Jim? Any corrections?
Let me just say congratulations to Kathy. Your dad would be proud. Your dad and Bruce Young are two of the major advocates for for Lake George. And you'll find it's a great group to work with. You've got superior leadership. One of the best things Bruce Young did was to bring Dave Wick on as executive director. He's got a strong staff with Joe Johns in the law enforcement. And I have to mention Joe Thune and Molly Gallagher for the strong arm that they presented when I needed it on site review trips. That's also Kathy. So anyway, I appreciate the kind words and the nice resolution and the picture. I say goodbye and wish you good luck and best wishes for your coming challenges.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Well spoken.
It's not a goodbye, it's so long, that's all. I remember just one point, we'll move on, when I followed Jim on the commission a year later. And, you know, I used to sit there and watch and listen. And one day there was the subject about boat storage and plastic coverings and all this and that. And finally, as he always did at the end of the subject, put the real nitty gritty to it and said that if you have a lake and you have boats, you're going to have marinas, and marinas look like marinas, and we can't ever lose that fact. And I thought to myself, well, there's how you make decisions based upon real fact and real law, et cetera, et cetera. So thanks, Jim.
May I offer a quick reminder to Kathy?
Yes.
Kathy, it's been a year-long intention to have dinner with Jean and Betty. I'm still open. Take care. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, item 4. Lake George Park Commission Septic Inspection Program. Carla, our counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to give a very brief update to everyone. As you know, at the last meeting or the last 2 meetings, we've put together all of the documents to move forward with the septic management inspection program. We submitted all of those documents down to Albany. We've had communications with Albany. Last week, we were advised that everything was sent to the governor's office on the 13th of June. As of Friday, we still don't have approval from the governor, but we're hoping that it's coming very soon because they had no issues getting it. We worked with them and had a couple of things that we changed, sent us straight to the governor's office, and hopefully we'll hear back from them soon. Once that happens, the next step is we will publish that in the state register, open the 60-day public comment period, and at the end of that, we can have a public hearing and move forward with going to approve all of the documents. They become regulations. So we're in a good path. They know we want to have these public hearings during the summer if we can. We are still legally allowed, as you can tell, to have Zoom meetings. That will continue as long as the state of emergency continues, which is re-upped every 30 days so far. So if we need to have public hearings via Zoom in the fall, that would be appropriate as well, as long as we're legally allowed to have them. But we are moving forward, and I want to thank the commissioners for all of their work on this. The ad hoc committee for all, you made my job a lot easier, to be quite honest. And I always like when people make my job easy. So that's where we are. And once I hear more information, I will of course let you know.
Great. Anybody have any questions? Yeah, Carla can answer, not me. Moving on. Thank you very much. It's a topic that is going forward, and it's kind of exciting, accented by the August open house for the new village plant that the mayor has got going. And you know, that those 2 items, our program and the village's new system, just it puts us light years ahead of where we were. Project review actions report. Mr. Stanek.
Okay, resolution 2022-28, accept project review.
Excuse me, Joe, could I ask a question about before we do the resolution? On the project review? Okay, I had a question on the Putnam 7 residential lots that have had an incomplete notice sent for years. And the applicant was Sheila White. I was just wondering, there were 7 residential lots. If that was the same, because it's now well over 10 years that we've done anything on it, and it's still on the list of the project reviews. And I was wondering if that was the same piece of land that the APA had approved 7 residential lots that now the Lake George Land Conservancy has taken over, and it's their new initiative. And Mr. Beatty's estate is matching funds because the Land Conservancy needs another $1.5 million to finish paying off the $5 million that they paid for that property. Just wondering if, because that is well over 10 years old now, if that is the same piece of land that was purchased by the Land Conservancy, and if that's off the docket.
I can answer that, Chairman, if it's okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, so that has been incomplete for a while. It was very near to receiving a permit, but there was a lawsuit brought by some neighbors to the property. And so it's been caught in litigation for many years. So we've kind of kept it, in the state, rather than withdrawing and having them start the whole process over. It's been kind of caught in this limbo due to litigation. But I was just informed within the last few weeks from Mike Horn of the Land Conservancy that the property is under contract to be purchased. So this will be coming off the docket soon. Yes.
So it is. Thank you. Appreciate that, Joe. Solves the mystery. Thank you.
Okay, resolution 2022-28, acceptance of the project review actions report. Whereas the commission has received and reviewed the project review actions report prepared by the staff and dated 6/21/2022, and the project review committee recommends acceptance of the project review actions report. Now therefore be resolved that the commission directs that the project review actions report be incorporated in the minutes of the full commission meeting. So moved.
Second,
Motion is made.
second,
All in favor signify, and
aye.
we'll move on to it. Joe and Jason, who's up on the subjects?
Jason has both applications today, so I will turn it over to him for introduction.
All right, thank you. Yeah, just to mention, it was 3 projects. The tour boat project they withdrew. They're going to pursue it later in the winter. They're a little late in the season. They just want to pause for now. But the first project on the docket that we're going to discuss is the Peter Jewett project. And so the applicant for the Jewett property is Peter Jewett, located at 3359 Travis Point Way in Echo Bay in the town of Fort Anne. The dock proposed for modification was a T-shaped pier at dimensions of 27 by 10 feet, however, was built at 8 feet wide. This past year, the dock was lengthened to 36 feet 10 inches and modified to a straight pier without a permit. The dock has been required to be brought back into compliance by an order of consent, which has since been signed and issued. So the applicants have requested a variance to keep the portion of the dock that extended into the western neighbor's 20-foot setback, citing shallow water and difficulty berthing their boat on this location as the hardship. There is comment by the APA. They're still looking into wetlands. That's pending. The neighbor did comment in opposition. The neighbor whose setback has been encroached did comment in opposition. They have concerns about swimming, encroachment on their riparian and littoral rights, and questioning the hardship of the Jewett's ability to berth, noting that there is another F-shaped dock authorized for the property that's built in a compliant location that is not yet built. It's been authorized, but not yet constructed. So Mr. Jewett is on the call today, and I believe he's actually in our conference room. So he can give a background of the project from his perspective. And I believe council is also here representing the neighbors, the clients, to speak to the project as well. So I will pass it on to Peter to give his explanation of the project, and then we can open it up to comment and counselor questions. So Peter, are you set to speak?
That's not-
Yes, I am.
Oh, there he is.
I'm unmuted, so I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate Mr. Nishaw. I haven't met him, but I think that resume is very impressive and you guys should all be proud. As an outsider, I just wanted to mention that. So I know you know them, but congratulations and Godspeed to you. First, I do want to thank all of you guys for reviewing my application for a variance. We've been coming to Lake George for almost 20 years now, and we recently purchased the said property on Travis in Catskill Bay. We enjoyed coming up and have spent several times in the last few years navigating Echo Bay, enjoying how you see the kids playing and swimming around the docks and the boats, traveling in and out of the bay. So we enjoyed that and really looked to purchase the property, which we are ecstatic that we were able to get. And to my knowledge, I don't think there has been any incidences in that Echo Bay of safety with children and boats. And so, that's to my knowledge. I don't believe that anything has happened there. So I don't believe my request for it works out to be about 30 square feet, which is less than a sheet of plywood, to extend my dock out into a little bit more deeper water. There is shallow water there. There are, rocks, but it's by doing this with my dock, I have a straight shot into the dock. I'm not trying to maneuver around anything. And in a windy condition, for me to berth my boat, it's a lot safer to do that. I do understand and paid my fine for the permit, and I apologize that was a misunderstanding with the contractor and myself, but I did pay the fine. I've read the objections of Mrs. Klein's attorney that were sent last week. I didn't have a chance to do a written response based on getting into this meeting. And again, I appreciate you guys spending your time. But I would like to address some of the comments that he has written in his thing. I understand there's a long history about this dock in this area. So I just wanted to address some of his comments about about swimming in the water on Klein property. I'm a little perplexed at that because I don't think the water is anyone's property. The water is owned by state of New York, Lake George, and all the commissioners have the jurisdiction, which we certainly do not want to offend or do anything that would affect the safety, the purity of the lake. Jason did say that the Wetlands Commission has requested pictures and a site visit, which I've scheduled and have sent the picture off to Miss Odell, I believe, Mary Odell, and hopefully we'll receive within, I think they said 7 to 10 days, a site visit. So I don't want to bore you with too much talk, but I do not understand that I'm affecting her property. Mr. Reitenbach also addresses a 2004 swimmer's permit that's attached to the packet that's on the web and which was forwarded to me by Jason. I don't see that attachment, the permit attachment. And when I inquired with the Department of Environmental Conservation on Monday, this past Monday, which is June 27th, there are no permits for a swimmer's area or any permits of record for the Klein property or the area of Echo Bay. I mean, unless I'm mistaken or he's mistaken, there are no permits on record for this swim. And I state that because in Mr. Reichenbeck, if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I apologize. He states all in his things about the swimmers, Mrs. Klein's swimmers property, and how I would be the boat traffic would be affecting that area. I don't see a permit, and I just don't think that my 32-foot extension, 32 square feet extension into that area would affect any safety or concerns of the boat traffic and swimmers in the area. I swim in the area, plenty of times. So I do digress to regarding that permit. And as far as my hardship in that writing, Mr. Reichenbeck is referring to the shallow area, the rocks, the concerns of the wind, and how that affects coming into my permitted pathway to my dock. So I'm trying to understand that aspect of how that is. We do have a permit for the FDOC. So in his thing, basically, my understanding is what the concern is, well, you could put it in your FDOC. The FDOC isn't built. And if you, as you know, the current market between manpower, lumber costs, the volatility, I have to, hold off on building this FDOC. So the only way that we can enjoy the lake is to try to make my current dock safer for everybody involved. So, and then he's saying about the congestion of the lake and referring to the congestion of the lake. There is a Class B marina permit that was granted for this property. So I'm sure that research of congestion of the lake and basically what, I'm reading about the beauty of the lake was taken into consideration when the marina, the Class B marina was granted for this property. So I don't think, and as far as hardship that I have to prove, he's not saying hardship, financially and availability of any docks on Lake George now is nil. So which is a good thing. It's a very desirable area. And he does reference in his letter finally that I was clearing rocks and to allow a boat pass. I have not met Miss Klein yet. It is sad that we have to meet in this type of forum, but I have not met. When we purchased the property, there was a tree that had snapped into the lake and was in the lake and on my property. I hired a tree expert to come in and remove that tree and remove it from the lake and my property. And I've been cleaning up branches in the lake. If she's, so I'm not trying, it would be a Herculean effort for me to try to clear some of these boulders that are in the lake. So, I'm not trying to do anything that's against the lake. We are just trying to make it safer for my family. I don't have any indication of making it a commercial property. We bought the property for us, my family, my grandchildren, to enjoy the lake. So without going any further, I'm hoping that you guys understand our request for this variance. And please let me know what I have to do to take it to the next step. And thank you all again. And thank you, Mr. Nishaw, for all your years of service. It is an awesome resume.
Thank you, Mr. Jewett. Is there someone here to speak about or for or against the application?
Hi, I'm Kim Bender, and I would like to speak for the application.
We can't hear.
I'm Kim Bender, and I'd like to speak for the application.
Okay, Ms. Bender, but we're still, you have a voice issue. We're not understanding completely what you're saying. How's she coming in, Justin, by phone?
I'm not sure.
On my computer.
Can you try to get a little bit closer to your microphone, Kim?
Okay, is that better?
Yes, that is better.
Okay, I'm on top of it now.
Thanks.
Anyway, I'd like to speak for the variance, and some of you may know me and know some of the things that I've been through in the talk, as well as other things. But anyway, I took a look at the letter that Miller, Mannix, Schachner, and Hafner submitted on dated June 17th. And I just wanted to address a few things in there since I have the history, and I think this is relevant information to this application.
What party are you to the application, Ms. Bender?
What property?
What party are you to it?
What party am I?
No, are you the seller of the property to Mr. Jewell?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. But we still can't hear you.
I'm the real estate agent and previous owner of the property.
Mrs. Bender, you have to lean into your microphone and stay leaned in.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Not really.
No.
Mrs. Bender, are you on a cell phone?
No.
Well, while she works on that project, is there anyone else attending to speak on this subject?
I would like to be heard on this application, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Reichenbach.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, can see you.
Great. I'm getting uncomfortably close to my laptop, but I want to make sure I'm heard.
You're heard.
First, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we believe that there are factors besides the lack of required showing under the regulatory standards for a variance. We believe that this application would render that area of the lake unsafe. There's just simply not enough room between the permitted swim area and the shore and the shallow area and the rocks. If you look on in the application materials that we submitted with our letter, there is a drawing there that OGS did that shows pretty clearly Ms. Klein's swim area. That is permitted, by the way. There's a July 28th, 2004 letter from DEC, and it says that the letter is the modification of the permit. So we believe that swim area is clearly permitted by DEC. If you look at that drawing, you'll see there's not much room at all in there. And I think that we ought to be reducing the number of boats and the amount of boat traffic in that short, small area, not increasing it. Certainly, there have been no incidents yet, according to Mr. Jewett. I believe the dock work was done in April of this year. It's June, so not yet, unfortunately, is probably the answer to that. Not yet. Additionally, the regulatory standards have not been met. Mr. Jewett's made no showing yet of a significant showing that he would have to make under the regulations to qualify for a variance. As you know, he would have to show unnecessary hardship by clear and substantial evidence. One, that there's a unique and particular condition or situation there that imposes a substantial technological, financial, or safety burden on the applicant or the public. That's not been shown here. Simply, this property is approved for a 3 or 4 boat dock that could be constructed at a different portion of the parcel. That certainly would allow much more safe ingress and egress for boats. We argue that that would increase the value of the property and alleviate any undue hardship here. To the contrary, just building this short extension into the setback does not increase the value of the property nearly as much as construction of that dock would. And I dare say the commission would likely entertain an application to construct a smaller dock than the one that's permitted there, as opposed to the full F-size dock. So that would be the relief that we would say would be most agreeable to the commission and most in keeping with the regulations as they're on the books. Secondly, the applicant would have to show that because of the uniqueness of the property and the situation, there's no reasonable possibility that they could enjoy a reasonable return on the property absent this variance. We certainly have not seen any evidence of that to this point. Again, we think constructing the dock that was permitted would yield a much larger return than this simple expansion. Third, the applicant has to show that there's no adverse impact on public health, safety, or welfare, the environment, or resources of the park. We believe it's very clear that squeezing more boat traffic into this area, very close to this permitted swim area, is a public safety accident waiting for a place to happen, waiting for a time to happen. I can imagine like last weekend when it was windy and choppy, and the weekend before, trying to navigate a boat in that shallow area with the prop elevated or out of the water, and those conditions could be tragic. Finally, the fourth factor required under the regulations for a variance is that the variance would not alter the essential character of the park or where the project is located or lead to congestion. Again, in our letter, we believe this certainly would lead to congestion. It's crowding more boat traffic into that shallow area defined on both sides, one by rocks and one by a swimming area. We just don't think that the applicant has made the required showing for a variance here. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions from Mr. Chairman or any of the commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Can I make a comment?
Of course.
This is Peter.
Oh,
Mr.
no,
Wright-
hang on, Peter.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My fault. What the commission does on considering these applications is we hear from all the parties who want to comment, and then you will be given benefit to make a rebuttal, for lack of a better term,
Okay.
or support for that.
Yeah, no,
So don't let me forget you, because
no,
we're still on TV, and
I appreciate it.
we don't have an audience that we can look at and point our fingers at. So I see the new photo for Kim Bender. Are you better connected?
Hope so. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Anyway, I am the prior owner of the property and also the real estate agent for the property. And as far as values for the property, pretty much not being able to use that dock would definitely, the existing dock would definitely devalue that property greatly. But anyway, I just wanted to make a few points about the letter dated June 17th that was submitted. There's information I feel is incorrect. It talks about the part I don't understand, one of the parts I don't understand is it talks about leading to congestion. This property, I had a Class B marina on it. There's enough room for one, maybe two boats on there. I don't understand how continuing to use this dock would increase any congestion. You're not adding room for a third boat. So I don't understand that particular point. Also, the swim area, I didn't know the Kleins had a portion of the lake that they considered their swim area. I do know that years ago, they did get a DEC permit for a trampoline, which they put in the wrong spot. But anyway, my understanding is that expired, and I don't believe they have a current permit to put anything in that area. And the letter from the attorney also talks about a roped off area. Well, that was requested by the Kleins. They wanted to rope off a portion of the lake in order to have their use only, and that was denied by the Park Commission. And all this documentation, if you dig in the files, goes back a ways, 2003 actually. You'll find these documents in there. And I actually, when I found out that there was an issue where the client, Mrs. Klein's attorney was bringing up all of these, I dug into my several boxes of files and found a similar letter dated May 5th, 2003 from the same attorney, the same firm rather. This one was from Mark Schackner. And this is prior to any changes with the dock. The Kleins were trying to get my dock, my Class B marina, revoked and not allow any motorboats at that dock. So this whole situation has been going on for a long time, and it really has nothing to do, for the most part, with expanding that dock. This letter talks about an extremely dangerous situation in the Klein swimming area. If I were to use my dock that I was permitted to use, same type of verbiage that was used back in 2003, and they requested that both my Class B marina and my my permit for my dock be rescinded. And it says, we request that the Park Commission disallow any use of the wharf for mooring of any power boat. So this whole situation where, you know, it's add congestion, I don't see where they're getting that from. You know, they don't like the fact that it's going in their swimming area. I don't know of anyone that owns a swimming area on the lake. Then they have not had their trampoline on the water or any floating object for years. I mean, I just sold this the end of last year, and for years that there has been nothing there. And then I came across another letter dated December 11th, 2003, going in front of the Park Commission, again asking that my wharf permit be revoked. And Mike White, who was the executive director at the time, sent a letter dated December 11th, 2003, basically saying the Park Commission has reviewed everything, the Class B marina stands, and there really is no issue with additional traffic, blocking swimming areas, any of these things that are currently being brought up. This is just rehashing the same thing for years, from years ago, because Mrs. Klein feels she doesn't want a boat anywhere in the vicinity of her property. So I just wanted to bring this up. All the documents are in your files. And like I said, I don't feel like the objections are valid.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in attendance who has not spoken on this application yet that would like to? Hearing none. Mr. Jewett, I think I put you off first the last time.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. And
Mr. Jewett, if you could keep your responses directly to the subject, and you don't have to be brief as possible, but just concise.
Yeah, no, this is right to the subject, which in the comments by the attorney of this swim area. When I on Monday, spoke to a Garrett, I forgot the last name, at the DEC, said that there was the permits, but they expired in the year 2012 and have not been reapplied. They have not been authorized, so there are no permits. And he did a search, and there are no current permits at all, is what I was told from the DEC. And then just the one other comment, and it's just an observation that they're saying about the increased boat traffic. I think Kim stated that, and that just the other day, which I had no objections to. I actually welcome it, as a neighborly. Miss Klein had a very large boat, came right down the bay, backed up, and pulled right into her dock. So the navigation of that big dock and the area for the swim areas, there was no problem bringing that boat in, which as a neighbor, I loved it. I actually enjoyed watching the boat and seeing the boat come due. He was a very good operator and came in and done the boat. I'm only asking for this variance that I am entitled to that same safety to bring the boat into my permitted dock. So I just wanted to make that comment, but there currently is no permit for this safety swim area on that area of the lake. But then again, thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
May I make a brief comment, Mr. Chairman?
Certainly may.
Okay. I guess finally, in summarizing my client's position, it would be that through all that, I don't think we've heard any credible, substantial evidence that would meet the regulatory test for a variance.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no other comments, I will go back to Commissioner Stanek, and I'm assuming we've had a site visit there.
Yes, we visited the site and a few points was made. The first is that any references to the 2003 letters from the Park Commission did not include any information associated with this particular dock, which was just recently built. Second of all, it's difficult to see, the committee looked at it, and it's difficult to see how this would be a financial hardship since they already have approved dock on the other side of the property. So I didn't see any reason for allowing the dock that was built to extend into the setback zone of the neighbor. I personally and the other members that visited the site could also talk to it, but I don't believe that this variance should be approved at this point, given this fact that there's another dock that's already been approved but not built on the property that could increase substantially the property value. So maybe some of the other committee members, Bill Mason was there, so he could comment too.
I see Kathy's hand up first.
Yes, I was there and I totally agree with Joe. And then Jason was with us and he showed where the dock that's there could be modified to meet the regs. And it might look a little, might not look very like a conforming type of dock, but I did the measurements and I think the big pontoon boat will still be able to stay where it is and, not be compromised in its berthing. But you're right, there is an extra F-shaped type of dock that could be built in right around the corner. And I don't think there's any hardship there. Thank you.
Bill, your hand up.
Yeah, I might add, I concur with pretty much everything that Joe and Kathy have said, and we discussed that at great length. We as a commission, every time we get an application for a variance, we look very hard at it and try and help the owner to enjoy the lake and to park their boats and so on. In this case, it just doesn't seem necessary with the other options that they have. And so encroaching into the setback is something that we all agree. The widening of the dock back near the shore seemed to be okay, but the length of it into the setback is where we were having a problem. So I would not want to approve it either.
Any other commissioners like to make any comments? Hearing none. Do we have a resolution?
Yes. Resolution 2022-29. Approve a variance for dock modification.
Yes, Karen about downtown, the UPS store down.
Somebody,
Application DWM 22-4067 dock modification. Applicant is Peter Jewett. Whereas the applicant has applied for a permit to lengthen an existing dock and the Lake George Park Commission has reviewed the application supporting documents, comments received and other information which appears in the record. And the commission has made a determination that the project is a type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, 6 NYCRR 617.5. No further review is required for the purposes of the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas the action is considered to be a minor project pursuant to 6 NYCRR 645-5.3, and public notice has been published and distributed in accordance with the commission regulation. Whereas the applicant has requested a variance from the 6 NYCRR 646-1.1, number 11, every dock or wharf constructed shall have a minimum setback of 20 feet from the adjacent property line extended into the lake on the same axis as the property line runs onshore where it meets the lake, or at a right angle to the mean high water mark, whichever results in the greater setback. Whereas the commission finds that the project will now have no adverse impact on the health, safety, or welfare of the public, the environment, or the resources of the park, will not alter the essential character of the area in which it is proposed, will not lead to congestion in the park, will not have an undue visual, cultural, or audible impact on the neighborhood or the park. Now therefore be resolved, the Lake George Park Commission hereby resolves to approve the above application as proposed. So moved.
motion's made. Is there a second? Did you say to approve the application,
Yes.
Joe?
So we vote to deny it. We'll take the
Oh.
vote.
A yes vote is to deny the application.
So we need 6 votes to achieve approval. If there's 6 votes aren't received, the project will not be approved.
Right.
Okay.
I would second it.
Motion's made and seconded. We should do a roll call vote. Michelle, can you do that?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
I'll start with Joe Stanek.
No.
Okay. Kathy LeBombard.
On mute, Kathy.
Kathy?
No, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Dean Cook.
Dean, you're muted.
No.
Okay, thank you. Catherine Munsell.
No,
John McDonald.
No.
Dave Floyd.
No.
Bill Mason.
No,
Aaron Burns. No. And Ken Parker.
No.
Okay. So that's a unanimous denial.
Okay. So the application is denied. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Moving on. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. Jason, we should go to our next application.
Sure thing. Next application is for a dock modification variance again for the Kimball Haskell property located at 9112 Lakeshore Drive in Hague, New York. On this property, this was recently subdivided, but on the property in question and the subject dock was an existing wharf registered with the commission back in 1981 at dimensions of 110 by 3 feet wide in kind of a shape between a straight pier and an L, kind of looks like a hockey stick. So available documents show that it was extended prior to the current owners purchasing the property. At an inspection last October, we had noticed it was longer than was authorized, and Marine Patrol allowed the owners of the property to reduce its length just on a warning. They are asking through a variance to extend their dock from 110 to the 150 that it originally was, with the again cited hardship of shallow water making it too difficult to berth one of their vessels on property. They otherwise are planning to have everything be compliant with the dock, to have it back in the allowable area outside the setback. It was currently in the setback, but it's a movable seasonal type dock, so they can angle a little bit to be in the compliant area. And they have agreed to remove the platform that was built along with the extension, the unauthorized extension. So the variance request is for offshore distance from the mean low and mean high water marks. And they are here today. The applicants are here today to speak to it. There has been no jurisdiction taken from the APA or the town on this. And there has been no comment from either neighbor, but I would like to leave it to the Kimballs and the Haskells to speak about their project and their proposed hardship when they're ready. So I see Carolyn's here. I've been mostly speaking with Carolyn over the phone on this, and if anyone has any questions for me, let me know, but otherwise I can pass it off to Carolyn and the other applicants.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I'm here with Mr. Haskell. He's my co-owner, and I believe that Meg Haskell is also silently listening. She's at work today. So to speak on our project,
Hey.
can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so to speak on our project, as Jason said, we received a notice in January of 2020 in regards to the non-compliance due to the length of the current dock. We have spoken back and forth many times in regards to how to become compliant, and one of the ways to do so was to put in a variance for the extended distance offshore into a less shallow area, if you would like to call it that. We've supplied pictures, measurements as documentation showing how shallow our bay actually is. And to speak of why the dock was extended, it was permitted since 1971 as that 110-foot dock. And it has only been expanded over the years due to the nature and the ever-changing dynamic within this bay. We are asking for the additional footage to bring us out to 150 feet. As of last night, my particular boat, my family's, is the largest boat with the deepest draft on it. So I have supplied that information with you. And as of last night, our boat at a 19-inch draft was in 27 inches of water. If we extend this out to an additional 50 feet, or to the additional 150 feet, I'm sorry, it will put us in 34 inches of water. 7 inches may not seem like a lot, but once you get into August, it is significant. Just this past weekend, with 2 people in our boat, we are a family of 5, but with 2 people only in our boat, we were hitting bottom with our motor up, trying to get off the dock at 100 feet out. I think that's pretty much what we're trying to ask for. We, like Jason said, we will put it back into the required setback. And there, we will be in compliance with that as well. It is a removable seasonal dock, so that is not an issue.
Yeah, the dock comes out every year, goes in every year. Sometimes, we try to mark it so we know where it goes. We may be, a foot that way or a foot or 2 feet the other way. And the property's been in our family, or my wife's family, since 1950. My father-in-law used to rent boats through Morgan Marine, and he had a business, was raised docking. And I have pictures, I should have brought them, but the dock used to go out even farther than that. You can see in the pictures from 1973, I think it was. And there's, as far as safety and stuff goes, it's so shallow that boats don't even come in there unless they have to. So and going out the extra footage is really not going to be any different than what it's been over the last 20, 30 years, or even farther back than that. And the problem is that the boats, when I got married in '84, the water, when I get off the end of the dock, the water used to be up to my chest. And now with all the runoff and all the stuff, I know they put new catch basins in. I don't know if they're working right, but we're still getting a lot of sediment and stuff coming in. So the water has definitely gotten shallower over the last 20 years. So that's one of the reasons we always extend it farther. Our bad for not, checking on the permits and stuff. I mean, it's, I'll say that was our big mistake, but we're just hoping we can get the extension and make it easier for us to get the bigger boats in and out.
To speak on our hardship, I understand that a site visit was made to the property on Friday. Currently, we were permitted by the Lake George Park Commission to put in the length of dock that currently is in place under our old permit. The 5 boats, there were 7 boats noted on the dock by the part of, or the people from the commission who came to visit. I wanted to speak on that. 4 of those vessels are owned by us. The larger boat to the far left, which is the one that we are considering with the black roof, that we're considering as our hardship. If we do not get this additional dockage, we will not be able to keep that boat in come August. The other small fishing boat, the 2 wave runners, are ours as well. I provided Jason late this morning with documentation of our insurance. I couldn't get out to get the registration cards out of them to prove that they are ours.
Thank you for calling us.
I'm sorry?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
outside interference.
Okay. The pontoon boat on the right is owned by the Haskells, and the 2 others behind both of our boats are friends of the family that are not, they're not rented, they park there. I spoke to Jason about that issue, and we will go through the classifying it as a Class A marina after all this is said and done to allow them to keep their boats there. No additional boats will be coming on the dock, if that makes a difference, but we're just looking to get further out so that the boat with the deepest draft, which is ours, can be operable come August, because that is our biggest concern. We all know, just by the nature of the lake, you've noted it on your website, that there is a change of 5 to 6 inches come August, and that could be detrimental for us. We own a piece of property directly across the street. We've invested in this particular site. We love Hague and we want to stay here. But if we don't get approval for this, it could be a game changer for my family. So I hope that you got all the answers that you need and you understand our plight and our condition up here in Hague and in this bay. Because the only other alternative would be to move our boat and try to find a spot somewhere else, which is not economically feasible, or to dredge the bay, which is also not economically feasible and probably would never be approved by the DEA. So that's where we stand here at, on our property up in Hague.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else present that would like to speak to this application? Hearing none. Joe, did we have a visit report?
Yep, we visited the site on Friday, as you said, and there was 4 boats and some jet skis that were on there. And when we did a rough measurement, Jason brought his little ruler out that measured 120 feet from, and just a rough thing, but it looked like it was already extended an additional 10 feet more than what was permitted. And it doesn't really comply with the neighborhood. If you look around on both sides, no other dock really goes out to that extent at this point. And since they already had the boats on the dock, it wasn't, I guess we're looking at it as saying that I think they have enough space that they could handle their own personal boats without using their friends to come over and moor their boats at their dock. So there was other people that came, and Kathy Woodmont and Bill to give their comments.
Okay. Kath?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I totally agree with everything Joe has just said, and it's kind of an opposite thing here to approve a dock so it'll fit your boat too. So sometimes you might not have to, you might not be able to have the kind of boat that you want because your dock and the water isn't deep enough for it. So you might have to change your boat style. Yeah, it was a little, I was taken back when I saw all those boats docked there, especially when I expected to see nothing there because of the way the application was worded, that the lake was way too shallow. So I would have a tough time right now approving this.
Bill?
Can I speak on our behalf on those 2 comments?
Not quite yet.
Oh, not quite.
Thank you.
Okay, problem.
Bill, you're there?
Sorry, I was having trouble getting my volume on, but anyway, I concur. I don't think I have anything to add except that we were taken aback by the 7 boats that were parked at the dock and the fact that it was already longer than the 110 feet that was on the permit. And it didn't seem, looking in the neighborhood, like there was a hardship. Everybody else's docks were shorter, and it seemed like they were handling the boats that they had at the dock just fine. So I wouldn't be in favor of this right now.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have a comment, question?
I have
Answer?
a comment, Ken.
Yes.
That part of the lake has changed dramatically in my lifetime in terms of how much silt has come in to that area. And I do understand what they're asking about. I normally am 110% against having the size of a dock to fit your boat, but this is an existing condition that continues to change, and it's even hard getting into the Hague public dock now, and because of the shallowness. So, you know, if I were to vote, I would say until they get the Class A marina permit or Class B marina permit that they need, then they could possibly reapply and go forward. But I do think people need to understand that part of the lake has become very shallow, and dredging's been talked about there for years and years. It's not going to happen. So, you know, my recommendation would be let them get their marina permit and then go forward after that.
So
I'm
John,
not
you think, John, do you mean that we should table the extension of the dock until they get a Class A marina permit?
Well, that has to happen first. That's non-compliant as well. So I would think they need to do that first and then, yes, table the dock permit till they do that. But, you know, I do understand their situation in terms of that area of the lake. It's been getting shallower and shallower. I mean, you can see, if you took pictures 20 years ago, you can see how much longer all these docks are going out there near that Hague Creek.
Well, Joe mentioned that when we were standing out on the dock, that if that dock went another 30 or 40 feet out, it could be a hazard, especially at night with the other boats coming into the northern part of that bay. And
No, it's still bring it off.
Well, John, is your thoughts the fact that we should not be considering the extension of the current dock because they are currently not in compliance because they have two non-owned, one or more non-owned boats at the current dock?
I think they need to take care of that first, and then I would then go forward with the other part. I mean, they should have known, they shouldn't have had the other boats there. So that would be my suggestion, but if they were able to do that, I would support going forward with the extension of that dock.
Yeah, I would not be in favor of tabling the motion. I think Lieutenant Johns had seen this number of boats on this dock in the past. And so it's been years. And also I would like to have, Kathy Munsell was there and she raised her hand to have a comment.
Okay, Kathy?
Thank you. This was my first participation as a commissioner, and I try to take the very balanced approach, as we all do, in terms of enjoying the lake and keeping it safe. And my initial comment in being out at the end of the dock was that there's somewhere between 12 and 17 other docks in the same area, and that if everybody came back and went beyond the safety rules in place right now at 100 feet, that there would be quite a different presentation in the lake. So I was not inclined to approve such a request.
Well, thank you. Aaron?
Hi, I just wanted to make a comment about the appropriate depth for boats. Like, aside from the fact that they have other boats there, maybe the hardship is also there for their other boats. Is there some determination we use to decide what a proper depth is that would be allowed under a variance? Like, we want you to reach a certain depth no matter the size of your boat.
I don't think we've ever had that discussion.
Mr. Chairman, we've talked about it internally, but it tends to be a challenging one. Each boat has a different draft based on its own style. There's different conditions in the lake. There's different wind factors that we talked about. I know Lieutenant Johns and Joe Thune and I have talked about this on and off over the years. It's so far been left to the judgment of the commissioners to say what is appropriate and what is inappropriate, rather than having a hard number given the varying site conditions at each location in the lake. So we do not have a hard number.
All right, Dave?
Yeah, I have a hard time. They've got two boats on there that don't even belong to them. So they're in violation of our regulations. Why not get rid of those two boats and then have plenty of room for their boat? Because I understand that the variance request is so they could moor their boat. So if they get rid of those two boats that aren't theirs, they certainly would have a lot of room to put their boat in there. And I'm not very much in favor of coming up with a variance request. So somebody can come up with a Class A marina request later on. I have a hard time with that.
Okay, Bill Mason?
I just, the other thing that comes up in this it impressed us when we arrived. The first thing that impressed us was the fact that there were 7 boats there. There were whips right in next to shore for the 2 jet skis. And it's kind of logical when you see that kind of a facility that if you then give them another 50 feet, they're going to go from 7 boats to 11 boats. And that's not what the hardship is all about. The hardship is I can't get my boat in because it's too shallow, but you've already got 7 boats. And that's why when the site team that visited, we said, you know, there's no hardship here. You've already got 7 boats tied on this dock. How can you demonstrate a hardship when you already have 7 boats? So that just is insurmountable to me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Bill. I think John's got it. We need to get those 7 boats out of there. If they need their Class A marina or Class B marina, that's first. And then we can look at the other issues.
Ms. Kimball, I think I put you off previously.
No, that's okay. All right, to answer some of your questions, as I stated previously, there will be no additional boats placed at the dock. 4 of those boats, the 2 wave runners and the small Triumph fishing boat, are put close to the shore because they can get into the shallow water. Those are all owned by me and my husband and my family. I provided evidence of that. And as for the Class A marina, I must admit, and it is completely my fault, I did not realize that when you have 2 or more boats that are not owned by the owners of the property, that you needed that. And as I stated, and I spoke to Jason this morning about this, we will absolutely do what we have to do if we decide to keep those 2 people at the boat, at the dock. And the pontoon boat is owned by our co-owner. So 5 of those 7 boats are owned by the people that own the property. Let me be clear, because it seems to be a bit of a confusion. It is not about, we're not asking for length to fit our boat's length. We're looking to get into usable depth of water. So for me, it's, you know, we're going to probably have 75 feet that's going to be empty open dock because we cannot get our boat into that dock in August. You know, we're all boaters. I've been on this lake my whole entire life. We've owned this particular property for close to 15 years. We love Hague. We wanted to stay here when we rebuilt our home 2 years ago. This is where we love to be. We purchased our brand new boat last year. You know, and we purchased the size that we purchased because we had the length of dock we had and the depth of water. I mean, so we can stop, you know, I need to stop saying it's about the length of the dock. It's the depth of the water that the dock is sitting in. So I need that to be clear. Again, if you need us to write this down in an affidavit, there will be no additional boats put at the dock. We will get the Class A marina if we decide to keep those 2 friends who we, again, to be clear, do not collect rent from. So it's not as if we're profiting from these people, and we don't intend on, like I said, taking in renters at this point. Again, it speaks more to the depth. Somebody spoke about the safety of the length of the dock. This particular dock still does sit within that marked off with pin buoyed bay. We will still be about 30 to 40 feet or so from those pin buoys. We have lost a couple in different lake ice conditions over the years. So, you know, and the commission or whoever is responsible for placing those buoys out have not replaced them. But if somebody is coming in and, you know, is going to, you know, potentially hit that dock, you know, they're coming into a buoyed off area anyway. So again, I just want to be clear. We're not asking for length due to the amount of boats we want to put there. We're looking to get into usable depth of water for our boat.
Okay.
And that's our hardship.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Who's?
Tom Haskell, I'm the co-owner with Carolyn and her husband. How did they arrive at the 120 feet?
Well, we used the tape measure. We went from the end of the dock and we measured to the high water mark,
Okay.
or low water mark, I should say.
The end of the
Yeah, but where did you start the measurement? That piece of wood structure that's on the property? Or did you start with the first dock that was in the water? I guess that's my question.
Because if you started at the end of the actual wood, it is
The first,
there's 10 feet of wood on land.
Wait, time out. One at a time, please.
yeah, so if that wooden structure is all on land, it's just
We
a
didn't go
path
to the,
of dirt and rocks. So the first section is the one where the legs are actually in the water. That's where we went from to 110 feet. I counted 11 sections and 10 feet long. So my question is exactly where did you start and end as far as the sections? Because I only count 11 sections, not including the one on the land. The one on the land is not a dock.
right. We didn't measure the one on the land. It was an unofficial measurement. We can have a member of the staff go out and do an official measurement if you'd like.
Yeah, that's fine. I can meet with somebody. I don't, we're just trying to, it's the depth of the water that's the problem. That's the issue. And it's been an ongoing issue. A lot of the other neighbors, if to the right of us, that bay over there, the water is deeper over that way. But I can tell you that you can't walk over there. You can't swim over there because if you stand up, you're going to sink down to your knees from all the sediment and the leaves and the runoff from the brook that wasn't maintained properly over the years. And I know we're trying to catch up and keep the lake as pristine as possible. And I'm with that. I mean, if I'm out in the boat and I see something floating, it's not a stick or a log, or even if it's big enough to hurt somebody's boat or a wave runner, I pick it up and put it in and bring it and get rid of it. Same thing with the garbage. But it's about the depth of the water. And every year, like Mr. McDonald said, it's been getting deeper or shallower and shallower every year. And I know at one point a few years ago, they talked about dredging, and that's not going to happen. It's not cost effective. And it's also going to disturb the plant life and everything that's under the lake on the bottom. And that's just going to upset the ecosystem. So, and as far as the other boats, they're just friends of ours. We told them, go ahead, put your boat in. And the one boat with the green cover, he has trouble. He drafts just as much as Carolyn's boat. So it's not, and we're more than happy to get rid of those two boats. But it's about the depth of the water. It's not the length of the dock. And other people, like I said, the people to the left, the trout house, that water over there is deeper. And if you look, they go out and the water is deep enough over there. So that's it's the depth of the water, not so much the length of the dock.
Okay.
And again,
water. I believe that says that on the website is, for the marina thing, it's the extra 40 feet.
Do you have anything new that we haven't already said to issue? I'm not trying to cut you off.
No, that's all right.
But if you're finished and you have nothing new, then we need to move forward with it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Joe, do we have any other commissioners have a comment at this point? Hearing none. Joe, do we have a resolution?
Resolution 2022-30, approve a variance for dock modification. Application number is DWM 224056, dock modification. Applicant is Richard Kimball. Whereas the applicant has applied for a permit to lengthen his existing dock 110 feet by 3 feet, straight pier dock to dimensions of 150 feet at 3.5 feet. The Lake George Park Commission has reviewed the application, supporting documents, comments received, and other information which appears in the record. The commission has made a determination that the project is a type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, 6 NYCRR 617.5. No further review is required for the purposes of the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas the action is considered to be a minor project pursuant to 6 NYCRR 645-5.3, public notice has been published and distributed in accordance with the commission regulation. And whereas the applicant has requested a variance from 6 NYCRR 646-1.12, number 1, no dock or wharf may extend offshore for more than 40 feet beyond the mean low water mark where the wharf intersects the mean low water mark. And number 3, no dock, wharf, or mooring shall be constructed or placed so as to extend offshore more than 100 feet from the mean high water mark. The commission finds that the project will have no adverse impact on the health, safety, or welfare of the public, the environment, or the resources of the park, will not alter the essential character of the area in which it is proposed, will not lead to congestion in the park, and will not have an undue visual, cultural, audible impact on the neighborhood or the park. Now therefore be resolved, the Lake George Park Commission hereby resolves to approve the above application as proposed. So moved.
Motion's been made. The second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Any
A
discussion on the
Mr.
motion?
Chair. Question, Mr. Chair. So
Yes.
I did not make a motion to table. So we're beyond that point.
Okay,
Okay,
Is that right?
that we're acting on the motion,
Okay, thank you.
up or down. We're going to do it by a roll call vote. And a yes vote means, and I need an interpretation here.
Yes vote means you approve the project, a no vote means you do
Okay.
not approve the project, you need 6 to pass.
Right. And then my advice to the applicants, no matter what happens, is they need to speak with staff regarding the Class B marina situation that's currently there. Anyways, roll call vote by Michelle, please.
Okay, Joe Stanek,
no,
Bill Mason,
No.
Kathy LaBombard,
No.
Kathy Munsell,
No.
Dean Cook,
Dean, you're muted.
no,
thank you, John McDonald,
I abstain.
okay. Dave Floyd,
no,
Aaron Burns,
No.
and Ken Parker.
No. The project has been denied, but I think the project has some life in it, and I'm hoping that you folks will reach out and work with Jason. John McDonald has some good advice, perhaps. I'm not familiar with that water, and I rely upon their counsel. But this may or may not be the end of your road for you on the project if you can get another approach. Having said that, thank you very much for your participation. We have a law enforcement committee report.
we do, sir. The Law Enforcement Committee met this morning, and we went over current issues, and also we went into executive session. I might note that all our boats now are ready to go, and they're all in working order. All our equipment is fully serviced and in good shape. We do have one new motor on order, and it's in the backlog for that new motor is 52 weeks. So we have to be very, very careful with what we put on order now. The patrol will go to summer staff levels Thursday, June the 30th until Labor Day. Then we will be operating day and night, and the evening hours will be up to roughly 10 to 11 o'clock at night. I might add that we have been approved by the Parks Department for our reimbursement in the amount of $135,000 for all of the equipment and things. We went into executive sessions and we were talked about updated on current cases, on new cases, and on closed cases. And in closing, I may state that our voter training classes in Bolton Landing that on July 11th and 12th are now full. However, if there is an emergency where somebody has to get it, please talk to our lieutenant and he'd be able to squeeze in 1 or 2 more people. I have a resolution to read, please, sir. Resolution 2022-32. The Law Enforcement Committee met via teleconference on June 28th, 2022, and to review matters pertaining to the Lake George Park Commission's Marine Patrol and the Commission's Lake Enforcement Program. Whereas active law enforcement cases and their statuses were reviewed in executive session, and whereas the Law Enforcement Committee has reported on the results of that committee meeting at this full commission meeting, and whereas the Law Enforcement Committee recommends acceptance of this month's law enforcement report. Now there be it resolved that the commission accepts the report of the Law Enforcement Committee. I so move.
Second.
Motion's made, motion seconded. All in favor signify by signing out. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Next agenda item is public comments, and Justin.
Well, we don't really have much for public, but
Okay.
Is there anyone that would like to make a comment?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made to adjourn, motion's been seconded, and all in favor of adjournment can say hello, goodbye, and nice seeing you all. Good work today. And we'll talk soon. Bye all.
Thanks.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.